What I'm going to do is now turn it over to Miss G, and she is going to show everyone 4 different ways to make a bird feeder for your home or wherever you want to put it. I don't know if you'd want to put a bird feeder like in your bedroom. That's weird, but you know, by all means. So there you go, Miss G. All yours.
All right, guys. So we're going to do bird feeders a few different ways. Yes, and that's okay if you don't have the bird seed. You can put the bird seed in later if you don't have it. And actually, at the end, I show you some ways to feed birds if you don't have bird seed. So I'm going to show you guys some foods that are okay to give to birds. You don't want to just give them like chocolate and like candy. Birds can't eat that. Same as it's not good for us, it's very bad for them because they're so tiny. They definitely can't have sweets, but I will show you some other kinds of foods that you can give to birds. So let's go over a few of them. First off, you want to make sure you have some of these first tools. Like you want to make sure you have some string and some scissors. Maybe you want to have a parent nearby who can help you out if you're a little nervous of using the scissors for some of these projects.
All right.
So yes, so make sure you guys have your string with you. Make sure you have your scissors, and then have some other tools with you. I have peanut butter I'm going to be using. Lots of different things. Now, the first project we're doing uses an egg carton. Does anybody have their egg carton and was going to make an egg carton bird feeder? All right, now, well, this one's really easy. An egg carton is great for a bird feeder. And all you need to do is you can carefully, using scissors, or you can rip it. It's better to use scissors. You cut the top of it off. So just like right in between, you cut the top off. Now, a bird feeder made from an egg carton is really good because paper is not bad for your garden. Paper is actually really good for plants when it breaks down and gets torn up. So this, if this falls into your garden or falls apart, it's okay because paper is actually really good for plants. So now you just have the bottom of your container, right? Now, I'm gonna leave this flat because that's a perfect place for birds to land on the edge, because this is gonna catch all your seed inside it. So now you have all these mounds in the middle here. You have all of those mounds. We're gonna need to get a string through some of those mounds. So if there's not a hole, take your scissor and carefully poke a hole. So now I have 2 holes in mine, a hole here and a hole here. So I'm going to pull a string through it.
Okay, and let's hold off 1 second. I want to make sure everybody has time, and please be careful.
Everybody got your holes in it? Yeah, be careful with it. Don't make the hole too big. It just needs to be big enough to poke a string through. So if you have a bigger string, you need a little bit bigger hole. If you have a small string and you have like nimble fingers, you can make a smaller hole. Right. And now the cool thing is, this is a cardboard bird feeder. You can color it however you want. You could use markers or paints to decorate it and just make it really fun. All right, and now the trick is you're going to go through one side with your string. And then you have to decide how long you want the string to be. So if you want to hang it from a high up, you make your string longer. If you want it to hang lower down, you can make it lower. So you have to decide how long you want it to be. This is probably a good length. See how it comes like right above it, not too high. Because if you make it a really long string, it's going to be like a crazy swing for the birds and they might get seasick. So, you know, don't make it too long. So then when I know how long I want it to be, I cut it off. I poke it through my other hole. And then all you need to do is tie it underneath. And then that is how easy it is to make a bird feeder. Isn't that cool? That's all you need to do to make a bird feeder. And all what you needed was an egg carton and some string, and now you just need to fill it with bird seed when you're done. So look at that. Nice and easy for the birds to get to. And then you'll fill all the little egg cartons with seed, and then the birds can just sit in there and have a nice time. So if you guys still need to tie your string to finish it off, you can work on that. And if you're ready to do another project, the next one we're going to do is a toilet paper tube. So if you want to do the toilet paper tube one next, get out your toilet paper tube to be ready. Or if you just want to work on this one, you can break out some markers and color it and make it look really fun. So I'm going to hang this off to the side. Look at that. Hang that off to the side there. I'll definitely have to use this in my yard.
I got a random decoration question.
Yes.
What if I wanted to put glitter on it? Would that hurt birds if I put glitter on?
That's a good question. If you want to put glitter on it, put it on the outside. Don't put it inside where the seeds go. So don't put anything inside that's not edible. So decorate the outside. You don't want the birds to eat glitter. Can you guys eat glitter? Can people eat glitter? No, they can't, and neither can birds. So don't try to feed the birds glitter. They will not be happy. All right, well, that's the first one. And if you're decorating it, decorate only the outside so that the birds don't eat anything. That was a good question. All right. Now, if you guys are good with that one, you ready for a toilet paper tube? You ready? Maybe, Dylan, but remember, if it's too crazy of a swing, the birds won't be able to eat the food because it swings too crazy for them because they're very little. All right, so toilet paper tube. Guys, this one's really easy. You get your string and you loop it through the tube. Look at this. Look how easy that is, okay? So if you want to do the toilet paper tube, this is all you need to do. Loop it through. And then you cut it to how long you want, right? And you tie it off. Tie it off long enough so it can hang over a branch somewhere. And now, guys, here's the fun part. If you're doing this one, it gets messy. You get some peanut butter, you get this part, and do you know what I'm going to do with the peanut butter?
What are you going to do with the peanut butter?
What do you guys think? Put it inside? I could put it inside. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put it on the outside. So let me just move some of my ingredients away.
And I see some people are done with their egg carton bird feeders, or at least close. That looks great. Some of you I saw hold it up on camera. They look awesome. Yep.
So now what I'm going to do is, if you're working on the toilet paper roll, see, I just tied the string through it, just like the egg carton, I tie it through. And then you take your peanut butter. Yum, 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 peanut butter. And if you can't use peanut butter because you're allergic to it, that's okay. You can use almond butter too. Almond butter is okay. It's just as good for birds. Just make sure there's no added sugar or added salt because it's too much for the birds. So then look at this. Yum, yum, yum. Put some nice peanut butter on the outside of the toilet paper tube. It's kind of small inside. So if you're doing this one, you're putting it on the outside. Yum, yum, yum. Look at that tasty peanut butter. And now some of you were saying that you don't have bird seed. So how are you supposed to make this be for birds if you don't have bird seed? Well, there's one thing that you can do. Does anybody eat like oatmeal? Does anybody here ever eat oatmeal? If you have oatmeal, oatmeal is actually good for birds. Just don't cook it. They like it raw. So if you give them some raw oats from oatmeal, the birds will be very happy with you. So there we go. I covered it with peanut butter. This part gets really messy. So if you guys were not ready to be messy today.
By the way, I see some people still holding up some other stuff, such as Abby, who completed her bird feeder, and Taylor. That's great. I'm seeing a lot of people completing, some people working on their toilet paper roll bird feeders. That's awesome. And Layla asked about giving the bird water. That's more like a bird bath. We're kind of not doing that. You don't want to fill the egg cartons with water because they can find water anywhere. So they'd be more happy with the oatmeal or the bird seed.
Yeah. But if you did want to give them water, you're right. You wouldn't want to put it inside the paper towel tube, or you wouldn't want to put it inside the egg carton because it'll get the cardboard wet and then it'll fall apart. But if you want to give them water, it's okay to put a shallow cup outside where they can drink it. You just have to think it has to be small enough that they can get into it. So if you put like a plate filled with water outside, that is a perfect thing for a bird. We just can't put it inside these. So look at that. I covered it with peanut butter and it's covered in rolled oats. So now this is a perfect thing for a bird to eat. All right. Does anybody need some more time to work on their toilet paper tube bird feeder? Because I know some people are wanting to work on some other things as well, but I want to make sure everybody's doing okay.
Yeah, there's some people nodding yes, that they need a little bit more time. That's okay.
Yeah, because if you're trying to make all of these bird feeders, you definitely need enough time, right? Because we're making 4 kinds of bird feeders. My yard is going to be crazy filled with birds after this. I love it. And if you have bird seed, you just roll the peanut butter in the bird seed too. So I just don't have bird seed. I mean, I totally could have bought some, but I decided to just use oats because I have so many oats at home, more than I can ever eat. So I'll share it with my birds. And I think they'll be really happy with me for that.
There's been a couple quick questions that I think are really good. So I'm not making a bird feeder for the same exact reason that someone else just mentioned, which is that they had an egg carton, but it was plastic. If you have a plastic or styrofoam egg carton, is it still okay to make a bird feeder out of it?
Oh, that is a good question. Yes, you can still make it with the plastic one, but I wouldn't do it with the styrofoam one. The styrofoam one could fall apart and that's bad for birds to eat. But if you have the plastic one, that's okay. Because the plastic one, you can poke a hole and the birds can still sit inside it. But the styrofoam one, it might fall apart and the birds could accidentally eat it. So that's not good for them. But a cardboard one is just made out of paper, and paper comes from trees, so that's okay. Yes, some birds might eat acorns. Can it be flavored water? Layla, I would not give the birds flavored water. They just need plain water like they would get in nature.
Abby wanted you just to show her again where you put the seeds in the carton bird feeder.
In the carton one?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I do not have seeds, but I will be putting my oats in them. So when you put in the oats, I would say just spread the oats evenly throughout the feeder. So you're not putting in too much for any part of it. I don't know if you can see it okay. But I'm just spreading it out. So now I didn't put that much in it, but you just want to kind of spread them out. You don't want too many oats on any side or too much bird seed on any side, because this is being balanced. So you want to kind of keep more seeds to the middle so that the birds will go to the middle and then they can just land on the edge and then move to the middle as they're eating. Okay, it's a good question. Any other questions about the bird feeders?
There's been 2, and I'm sorry, I don't know who asked this, but someone asked, instead of peanut butter, could you use honey?
Oh, honey is a good one to use. Honey is very sticky though, so you want to make sure you're careful with that. And sometimes honey can be very thin, so it might drip off of the toilet paper tube before you can stick seeds to it. So you want to make sure it's nice and thick if you're going to use honey.
And someone else wanted to know if they put these up in a tree, let's say in their backyard, Do they have to worry about other bugs possibly getting in their house or, hurting their plants, anything like that?
I don't think so. You might only have to worry about bugs if it's honey, because I know bugs really like honey, but I don't think you would have to worry about bugs if you're using almond butter or peanut butter or something like that. So just don't put it right next to a door, because if you put it right next to a door, they'll try to come inside if there are any bugs that come. So just keep it out a little bit further away from your door. I forget what the next one is. I think we're gonna do the plastic bottle one next. So who's ready for the plastic bottle one, or do you guys need more time? Are you guys ready?
Yep, I think we have some people ready for the plastic bottle. And so how do you put in the string as far as with the toilet paper tube? Do you just run it
So
right
for the
between there?
string one, yep, you just take it and you just drop it through the center of the tube. So like this, I just drop it through and it comes through, and then you just cut it to however long you need. So you just drop it through the middle of it. If you're talking about the egg carton, you have to poke holes in the egg carton. So see this, I poked a hole here and I poked a hole here in the middle of the egg carton, and then I could put the string through.
All right, I think we're ready for the water bottle.
All right, awesome. So then what we're doing is I'm going to use a milk bottle, but if you're using a different bottle, that's totally fine. You don't have to use any special bottle. You're just using whatever you can get your hands on. All right. So now for this one, if you're a little bit nervous about using the scissors, you might want to ask a parent to come help you, okay? Because you're cutting through plastic. So if you're not sure about cutting through plastic, make sure you ask a parent to help you, or you wait until they can come help you later if they can't help you now. So you follow along, and then you can do this later using the recording. Yes, Dylan, you have a question?
So a bird feeder that would fly birds away from your house, you wouldn't want to feed the birds then. That would be just make no bird feeder.
So Dylan, if you wanted them to fly away, you would put it far away from your house. Like you could hang it in like the corner of your yard, and then they go to the corner of your yard instead of at your house. So is that what you mean? Like then they would go to the other side of the yard? I guess that could work.
Just don't put it in your neighbor's yard. They might not like that.
Yeah, not your neighbor's yard. All right, so now here we are. I have a lovely bottle. So let's do this one. So the trick to this is we want to keep the top of the bottle up, because then all you do is you take off the lid and you can pour more seeds in whenever you want to. So this is the plastic bottle. We're going to do a carton afterwards. But right now I'm doing a plastic bottle. All right, so first off, you've got your bottle and you've got your lid. Now, if you can't poke a hole through the lid, I'm going to be poking a hole through the lid using my scissors. So if you need a parent to help you for this part I recommend having somebody help you. So I'm going to take my lid, I'm going to set it on some cardboard so I don't stab through anything, and I'm poking a hole in the top of my lid. So see, I stabbed it through, and I'm going to just twist it, and now I have a hole in my lid. So just careful with that. I just carefully stabbed it, but you don't want to do anything too crazy.
And if your bottle doesn't have a lid, is that a problem? Is it okay to skip this step?
If your bottle doesn't have a lid, you can poke a hole through your bottle to put the string through. So if you have a bottle that doesn't have a lid, you could then poke holes through. So I'm going to actually do it on mine. See, it's kind of hard. So you want to just make sure you're being very careful as you're poking your hole. So there we go. There we go. So if you want to put it through and your lid doesn't have a bottle, you want to poke it through somehow like this. There we go. So see, if it doesn't have then you can just poke the hole through. So I just stuck a stick through so you can see how I poked the holes. But if you don't have a lid, you can poke 2 holes through your bottle to put your string through. It might be a little bit hard to get your string through, but that's another way. Or if you have a spare stick, now I could tie the strings onto the stick to hang up my bird feeder. So that's another option. All right, so there we go. Now I have a hole in my lid. You take your string once again, and you want to put it through the hole.
By the way, just a reminder, if you're having trouble making a hole in, because it can be rough, it's okay. Just try to follow along as you can, and you can do it a little later on with help of an adult. Okay. And I see people raising their hands. If you're raising your hands, put your question in chat. William, Isaac, Hector, Amarellis want to be able to ask your questions, but you got to put it in chat. Hector, yes. What do you need? What did you need for what? Or exactly? Is there a particular? Because we're making 4 different bird feeders. Which one?
Wait. The direction. What do you need for this bird feeder? That was the question.
I believe so. Yes.
All right. So for this one, you need string. You need scissors. You need your bottle. And for this one, you're going to need some kind of stick or a wooden spoon. So you can use a stick or a wooden spoon. Those are both good options for this one. All right, so these are my tools that I'm using. There we go. All right, so let me recap what we've done so far. I took my cap and I stabbed a hole through it. And now I've pulled the string through. So you want 2 ends of your string going through one side. And then it's a loop of string at the top. And then what you'd want to do is you want to tie the 2 ends into a knot. Here we go. There we go, 2 ends into a knot. And then you can pull the knot right up to the hole, and look at this. So now I'll be able to hang my bottle from a tree. Because now the hole is through the lid. So then when I screw it back on, it'll hang by its lid. Sure, Dylan, type your question. If you guys have any questions about this part, let me know. But you see what I did? It's a loop. I stuck both ends through and tied a knot on it. And then you pull the knot up like that. Oh, William Isaac, that looks awesome. If you guys can't get a hole through your lid, you might need to ask a parent to help you because it can be a little tricky. And to get your 2 strings through, you can use a stick to help you poke it through. I use my scissors to help me poke it through. So I just like poked them a little bit. Sometimes if you twist the string back and forth, like if you twist it, it can go through better as well. But this is definitely a part you might need a parent's help with. Well, Dylan, it's really hard to get birds away from your garden because birds love gardens. To knot it, you take it in a loop against itself. So you loop it around and you just loop it through. So there we go, I'm tying a second knot. So it doesn't have to be any special knot, it just has to be a knot so that it doesn't go back through the hole. Dylan, if you need to keep birds away from your garden, a good thing to do is if you hang up something shiny, like if you hang up an old CD, then it's shiny and the birds don't know what it is. So sometimes that can keep birds away from certain plants. All right, so there's my lid.
I saw 1 or 2 people sharing their photos, and that's great. What I'm going to do is, if I would love for everyone, once you're done, if you want to share what you've done, you can share it in chat, or you can have your parent email me. We'll put them up on social media and share with everybody what you've done if you want to, because these are looking awesome. I could see through camera some of the stuff everybody's working on. Some stuff is coming along really well. Iggy and Eli are doing a great job with their bottles. Oscar, awesome. Harper and Hudson are doing great with their water bottle ones too. So Desiree did an awesome job already. Andrew has a really good one. So, you know, and for some of you, it's okay. If you can't get a hole through, we will be working on one more bird feeder as well. And as I mentioned, we'll be putting this on YouTube, so we'll be able to do it a little later with the parents' help, okay?
All right, guys. So now how do they get the bird feed out? Now you have your lid, you have a way to hang it up, but how do they get it out? Good question. This is the part where we have to poke another hole. So I'm using a big wooden spoon. So I need to now poke a hole on one side and then poke a hole in the other so that the spoon can go all the way through. You guys see kind of how that is? I'm going to need to be able to poke the spoon all the way through so that the seed will come out into the spoon and they can eat it. So now this is the part where, again, if you can't poke a hole in it, you might need to ask a parent for help later. So now you take yours. Dylan, I don't think it's possible to keep birds away from sunflower seeds. Besides, if birds eat the sunflower seeds, they're going to spread the sunflowers, and then you'll have awesome sunflowers growing in different places. So unless you're trying to eat the sunflowers, that's actually a perfect thing for birds to eat. You already have a natural bird feeder.
And are you making a hole at the bottom of the carton too?
Yep, so I have a hole just in the side of the carton, and I want to check that my spoon can go through it. There we go. See, it can go through. And now you want to poke, you want to see where it's coming to the other side, and you want to cut another hole on the other side so the spoon can go through. Right? So cut it on one side and then cut it on the other. It's okay if the hole's not huge, because the hole just has to be big enough for your spoon to get through. So I'm going to take my scissors, be very careful with them. I'm just going to stab a hole through. If you need help from a parent, you can do that. You can press it against the table to help you. So I just poked a hole there. And I'll look at that. Can the spoon go all the way through? Let me see. Oh, almost. There we go. He's starting to go through. Oh no, didn't come through. I'm gonna have to go back and make my hole a little bit bigger. It's always good to start with a smaller hole and then make it bigger later.
So just make sure that you want to be very, very careful.
Yeah, be very careful, guys. If you need help, this is a good part to wait and ask parents for help, because we're poking holes in plastic. It can get a little sharp. So look at that. Now my spoon goes all the way through, so birds can land on this side and then they can come over to this side. So now this is the part where you have two choices. If you're using a spoon, you want to cut a little bit of a hole to make it so the spoon can go more in. So I'm going to cut my hole a little bit wider so the spoon can fit. And then the bird seed can come into the spoon. So I'm cutting it now into a slit.
Now,
and I'll show you guys what it looks like in just a second.
Someone asked if this would attract squirrels. Like, can squirrels eat bird seed as well?
Yup, squirrels definitely eat bird seed. So when you hang this in a tree, you want to hang it in a place that's hard for an animal to climb to. And that way, only the birds can get to it by flying. Now, guys, see how I cut it into a slit like this? Now, when I stab my spoon back through, I put it underneath the slit. And now when the bird seed comes in, it's going to fall through this space so the birds can get to it. If you're worried that the birds can't get to the seed, you can poke another hole above it so that birds can get seeds through the hole. So you can poke another hole. Again, be very careful. So you poke another hole right above your spoon. I'm going to be very careful with that. There we go. So see, there's another hole right above my spoon now, so the birds can poke their little beaks in there. And because the spoon comes to the other side, you can put another hole right above this side so they can stick their heads in. Now, it might take a little bit of a while for birds to learn how to do this. They've never seen a bird feeder like this. So they'll see the seed and they'll want to come get it. but it might take them a little while to learn how. So if they don't come the first day, that's okay. They'll figure it out. So see, if you have a stick, you poke a hole above the stick so they can reach their beaks in to get the seeds. Or if it's on this side, I cut a slit above the spoon so that it can fall into it like a bowl. And I have a hole above it so they can peck for more seed and then it'll catch in the spoon. And then you hang that up. Right? Anybody need some more time to do that? If you want to choose a shorter spoon, you can. This is a very long spoon. This is going to be kind of fun for the birds to land on. But if you have a shorter spoon, you can do that. You can use a nice, if you have a thick plastic spoon, you can do this. Just don't use something that's going to break. You want it to be a big enough spoon so that it's strong enough to hold all the birds in the seed. And you can color on this if you want. Just make sure not to use glitter or something that's going to fall into the bird seed that they could accidentally eat. All right, how's everybody doing with this one? Who needs some more time for this one?
All right, I see some people are already done. They look good. They look good.
Nice. And when you put the bird seed in, you can kind of figure out how the birds can get to it. So for mine, because I have a slit above my spoon so the bird seed can fall into the spoon. If it's not big enough, after you fill it with seed, then you can decide if you need help cutting it a little bit bigger so more seed can come through. And you want to make sure you fill it nice and full so that it is above the holes you poked, so that there's plenty of bird seed.
All right, we got one more we're making, right?
Yep, we have one more we can make, and this one's pretty fun. So I really like this last one because there's a lot of options for it.
By the way, I would not suggest eating bird seed.
Yeah, don't eat the bird seed unless it's like sunflower seed, but the sunflowers in bird seed might not taste the best because it's been mixed in with other seeds, so it might taste pretty nasty.
I would stick to granola. That's a lot better.
Yeah, stick to granola or like the bird seed from, no, not bird seed, the sunflowers from like the baseball park. They don't feed you bird seed.
And Layla, with that one, the way that the birds get the food, they'll be able to peck at some of the holes, and that will get some of the seeds out. That would also fall on the spoon or on the stick, so they'll be able to get it.
Yep, so that's why you put the hole right above the stick so that they can poke their little beaks in the hole. And when you put the bird seed in, if you have really big bird seed, you might need to poke a bigger hole. If you have small bird seed, leave a small hole. There you go, Dylan. Just don't feed chocolate granola to birds because they can't have the chocolate.
Yeah, and Carly knew that. So good knowledge there, Carly.
Nice. All right. Any other questions about this one? Or are you guys ready to go to our last one, which is using a carton? Anybody ready to do a carton? Exactly, Journey. Dogs can't have chocolate either because chocolate has caffeine in it, and caffeine is really bad for some animals, especially little animals. It's way too much caffeine for them. All right, so who's ready for this one? Or does anybody else have questions about the bottle?
I think we might be ready for the carton, and if other people have questions, I'll make sure to ask.
All right, guys. Now the carton one is really fun because you can just do pretty much whatever you want with it. So the trick is for the carton, first off, if you have a lid, awesome, but the lid is just so that you can pour bird seed in. It's okay if you don't have the lid or if you do. First things first, we need to poke a hole because otherwise, how are we going to hang this up? So you have a couple options for the hole. What I'm going to do is I'm going to poke the hole through the middle so that the string can go right through the middle here, right?
Do you need a cap for this carton?
Do
you need a cap with this carton as well?
No, you don't need the cap. You're not poking the hole through the cap this time. You're just poking it through the bottle. So you can poke a hole here. So you can poke the holes right here, or you can poke the hole right underneath the lid. So either place is okay. So I'm going to poke my hole right inside here. Oops, that's a little hard. So I'm going to poke it actually right here. This one might be a little bit tough to poke a hole through because it's a nice thick container. So if you need help with this one, again, make sure you ask a parent. So I'm going to poke my hole right here. I'm actually snipping my hole into this one. So I'm snipping on the corner. And sometimes that is helpful. You're just snipping the hole right there. All right, so look, see, it has the hole on this side. Oh my goodness, that's an awesome toilet paper bird feeder. I love it. All right, here we go. All right, now I have the hole on each side. So I can see through my hole. I can see you guys all through it. So now I know that's a good enough hole. Now you can try to put the string through right now, or you can wait to put the string until a little bit later. But if you can put it through, you take your string. So again, this one's going to need string, scissors, and the container, and of course, bird seed. And for this one, it's a good idea if you have a stick, but if you don't have a stick, that's okay for this one. If you have a stick that can go in it, awesome. If not, it's okay too. All right, so now I poked my stick through it. I'm going to cut myself a nice piece of string. And you want to put the string through. If it's a little bit hard to get through, it's okay. We have a chance to put the string through again later too. It's like a puzzle. I have to try to get the string all the way through. It still had water in it.
Now, is this something where maybe using something like a shoelace would be fun to do as opposed to string?
Oh, you could do a shoelace. That's a good idea. And guys, if you can't get the string through now, that's okay, because we're actually going to be cutting a hole in the front, and it'll be probably easier to get the string in after you cut the hole in front. Now, this is the fun part. If you can't get the string through, oh, I see V and Charlie, you're trying to get the string through. If you can't get it through now, that's okay. You used a shoelace, good idea. So if you can't get the string through, that's okay, because the next part is pretty fun. So now you have to decide, how are the birds getting to your bird seed? What we want to do is, first off, you want to leave a space from the bottom. So you're leaving a bit of a space at the bottom because that's going to catch your bird seed. So you can leave even more space. So maybe like leave about an inch, because you're going to fill the bird seed in the bottom. And you're going to be cutting a hole in the front like this is a little house. So let me see. I'm going to draw a house shape, because this is the fun part. I'm drawing a little house shape. So look at that, see? And that's where I'm going to cut my opening in the front. So it's a hole so they can just go inside and they climb inside the container and eat it. All right, so there we go. Now I have this, and now you want to cut it out. Now you can use scissors for this. I'm going to use something called a box cutter, but a box cutter is something an adult really should use. So you can try using the scissors to cut it, or you can try asking an adult for help. Maybe you just want to draw the design and have an adult do the cutting for you.
Yeah, definitely be careful with any type of cutting.
All right, so let me see. I'm cutting my nice little shape. Oh, here we go. Almost done. Here we go. And I cut it, and now I pop it out. And look at this. Now they can climb inside to get the seed. And this is the fun part, because you could decorate the outside of your box to look however you want. You could put some card construction paper on the outside. You could color it. You could do all kinds of awesome things to the outside. And now, because I have a hole, it's going to be easier for me to put my string inside. So now that I have a hole, I'm going to put my string through the holes at the top. So see, I'm just reaching my hand in, and this makes it a lot easier to put my string through. Look at that. Now I tie the string at the top, loop it around. I'm going to tie it a few times because this string can be a little slippy. So I'm going to tie it really nice and tight. There we go. Look at that. And now the birds can climb inside here to get the bird seed. But if you think your birds are going to have a little bit of trouble, this is where you poke 2 more holes. You poke the hole right below it and on the other side, and you can poke a stick through. So you're going to poke the stick inside to it so that the birds have a way to land and get to your seed, right? So one last thing, let me put in my hole. And again, now this hole might be really hard to poke because you've already cut some of this box, so it might be pretty hard. So this is one where you would definitely want to ask for help. All right, so look at that. I poke my hole in, and now look, there we are. Now they can climb up on the stick to get inside to their little feeder, and then you just fill all of the bottom of it with bird seed. Wow, pretty cool. Anybody have any questions about this one? And now it looks kind of boring, right? Because it's just a plain old box, but you can fill it with fun bird seed. You can cover the outside with awesome construction paper, because construction paper, it's all natural. So if it falls into the grass or if it gets rained on, it's okay because it's just paper. So you don't want to use things like glitter or little tiny plastic decorations that the birds might try to eat. You want to try to use things like paper and just coloring it with markers or crayons or pencils, different things like that.
Okay. Anybody have any questions about any of the bird feeder stuff? Does anybody, so someone asked, can you put a spoon in the bottom with bird seed? Can you put bird seed on the spoon?
For this one?
Yep.
Yeah, you could use a spoon instead. I just wanted to poke a little hole for a stick, but if you wanted to poke a bigger hole to put like a nice big spoon through, you could do that too. And then they could see it in the spoon, and then they could hop into the house to get even more.
All right. Any other questions about any of these 4 bird feeders? See, some people are still working, which is fine. That's great.
Yeah, does anybody need help to finish up your project? Anybody have any questions as you finish up?
Looks like everybody's still working, and that's fine. So this is what we're going to do, because this is kind of wrapping up the end of today. We're going to stick around still for about 5-10 minutes. So that way, if anyone does have any questions, you can just ask in chat. And it's okay if you only made 1. It's okay if you made 4. It's okay if you didn't make any. Because guess what? We're going to put all this stuff on YouTube later today. So you could view it tonight, tomorrow, sometime next week, and kind of take your time making it. I know some people had trouble making some of the holes and the bottles and the cartons, and you can get an adult to help you with that kind of stuff. And it's going to be totally fine. And I'm sure all of you will have beautiful bird feeders. And I see a lot of you are showing off your bird feeders too. I see, Charles and Emma. We see Maddie, Andrew, Kobe. That's awesome. Looks like Sydney might have one too. If in fact you want to show off what you've done, you can take a picture of it and you can just respond to any of the summer camp emails and it will come directly to me, and I'll be happy to share them on social for everyone to see. PA Virtual does have an Instagram account. We have a Facebook account. So we'll be happy to share all the work you've done. If you do not have a question, you can leave. I will tell you, we will be doing this tomorrow at 10 a.m. Tomorrow, we're going to be making a yarn star, and we'll have fun activities. Miss G, what kind of lesson will we have tomorrow?
Well, we might identify some of the different animal tracks that we learned about today, but we are going to start learning a little bit about Australia. So we're going to take a little bit of a virtual field trip to Australia. So I know some of us from all across the United States and the world, but we're going to take a little bit of a trip down under tomorrow.
Does anybody know any animals in Australia? Type it in chat if you know an animal is in Australia. Let's see if anyone knows. Kangaroo, that's a good one. Kangaroos. A koala, all right. wallabies. All right, that's awesome. Kiwi, so that's a good one. Not the fruit, but the animal. Wombats, okay. So we're going to be learning a lot more about down under as well. And learn all about Australia tomorrow. So look out for the email. It'll be coming tomorrow at 9 a.m. For all of you that had a little bit of maybe some trouble because there's a little code or something like that that was needed for those parents that are there. I promise we will have all of that stuff in there on our YouTube channel as well. We will be putting up this exact lessons. That way you guys can do this later. And if you want to share what you did today, you can email it to us and I'll be happy to share it with everybody so they can see all the stuff that you did because they look really, really cool. And Miss G just put up about if you don't have bird seed, what else you can use. So you want to explain this real quick?
Yeah, so guys, here's some other ideas for what you can do to give to birds if you don't have bird seed. So if you have fruit or vegetable seeds, birds really love that. If you have dried fruit, or even if you have fresh fruit like apples or pears, birds will love that. Unbuttered popcorn. So if you pop some popcorn and just put it out, but you don't put any salt or butter on it, that's good for birds. Raw oats are good. So you can give all kinds of different things to birds as well. So if you have any of these, they can have it. Interesting thing is you're allowed to give eggs and eggshells to birds. They don't mind eating that. Eggshells are actually really good for them because shells have calcium and that's good for birds. So you can actually give that to them as well. So if you guys were wondering some things to feed to birds, those are some other options. But otherwise, like Camp Director Sheikh said, we are pretty much wrapped up for today. And I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow when we go to Australia.
Absolutely. And once again, if you go into our PA Virtual Summer Camp page or in our emails, we'll be sending you a little passport. If you fill out 6 different lessons, we'll be giving you a prize. You just send it in to us. And the more that you fill out, the more prizes we'll be sending to you. So it should be a lot of fun. But for everybody else, if you have any questions, you can stick around. If not, I will see you tomorrow, hopefully, and have fun. I can't wait to see all the bird feeders that you made. It's going to be awesome. Goodbye, everyone.